Hi there, I'm Ken Canwisher at Teletoon Studio, and I'd like to talk to you today about the time I tuned my 6-string bass in fifths. So when you tune your 6-string bass in fifths, what it essentially does is it really expands the range of the instrument. First of all, the tuning of the notes. For 6-string bass players, it's the exact same order of strings, they're just in reverse. Meaning it's usually a B string down here, but this is our B string, and it's the same as a guitar B string. If we go backwards, E string is now the 2nd string. This is an A string, a D string, this is a G string, and a low C. This C is a semitone above a normal B string for a bass player, so it makes it a little bit tighter. Sometimes a B string can feel floppy, but just a semitone tightens that up, so that makes it nice. So you have a really big range and way beyond the bass range if you want to go there. So if I'm thinking like a bass player, the low strings are just like playing a cello down an octave. So if you know to play cello, the bottom strings are right there. The top strings might be a bit unusual, but this is one bass you will probably want to use a capo, because you need to, for instance, up here, I can play a scale, say the major scale that you always learn to play. So you can see there's a lot more shifting. There's something I use called a pivot shift. You can see my thumb doesn't move, just my hand moves up. And what that allows me to do is hold this position, so I could just do a pivot shift, and I can think in this position it's like a mandolin. So it makes it easier to play, but I'm still shifting. That's why this is one bass you might want to use a capo, because if I put a capo here, that being cumbersome is now very easy. So that's pretty cool. So if you know to play mandolin, you know the basic shapes here. And funny, if you go up here, it's like cello, so you have to actually go higher. And being a cello player, so that's 2 octaves above. So not only do I have a bass down here like a cello, but with a capo, it's very handy. So that's why, and on this bass, you might want 2 capos. Because if I'm on C, that's probably cool, but even if I put it on the 4th fret, this is the normal lowest note on a bass anyway. So all these notes, so it's handy to decide what the low note you want to put this on. So here's a bass you can easily have 2 capos on, and it makes sense, although the audience might not understand. So it's obvious that this bass is more of a specialty instrument and should not probably be used as your primary instrument as a bass player. And the other thing that's neat about this instrument, if you're into looping, is great, because you can go from bass into a guitar or higher instrument range with just the putting on of a capo. So if I was going to loop, I'd start by probably doing a bass line. So that's what I'll do. I have a little lead in here, and I'm going to play the bass line to "I Will Wait for You." That would be the end of the loop, and then I can put my capo on and think like a mandolin player and play the melody. Then you can improvise. you can take it up here into the cello range. So that's how you could build a song with looping. When you're playing an instrument tuned in fifths, you will find that there's lots of repertoire from violin and cello music from a lot of the greats that you can learn. I find learning classical music is more than just learning these great compositions, but analyzing them and kind of understanding them and even improvising on them. They can be really a learning lesson. I'm going to take a Bach prelude. The prelude is in C minor, and it's written for piano, so that shows you can even learn from keyboard instruments. Really, it's just, they're all notes, and anything can be learned for any instrument if you want to analyze it. So this is in C minor, and it starts, actually the whole piece kind of has this, it's like almost like a chord progression. This movement keeps on going through the whole piece. Well, not the whole piece, but the majority of it, like many of his pieces. A lot of his preludes are almost like chord studies, and this is no different. So if you look at this as a C minor, that is a C minor chord right there. So, and then he has this nice passing motion. Now I'm using the capo. If I took it up to do the same lick, so you can modulate these around. So that's just an idea of playing C minor. And you can improvise with the ideas. And you can even see, can you go up the other way? So you can find nice movements within the chord. Here's an F minor chord. Right there's the F minor. So here the F is on top. And that's the third in the root. Doing a chromatic down one. And then just an F power chord. Pretty cool lick. Thanks, Mr. Bach. Wonder what he would have been like if he was a jazz guitar player. That would have been neat to hear. Anyway, so that's not so much a performance, just the idea that you can learn so much. In the fourth bar, he does another C minor, so you can see another way of playing on a C minor. Wow, look at that. Opposed to going. See, those are sixes. These intervals, that's a tenth. That's a major third up an octave. Like instead of going to there, it's up an octave. Oops. And that's a minor tenth. And then back to a sixth. A sixth is a pretty big interval, but here it sounds small compared to the tenths. So that's where you're seeing all these things from a piece of music. You can learn the notes, but you can take the notes and make them your own. That's the thing about it. Anyway, I hope that's insightful. I can do that for other pieces. I will in later videos. Another great resource for playing this instrument is fiddle tunes or Celtic music, because there's lots of fiddle music. You just need a capo there. Sometimes I like to change up the feel for fun. So I'm going to put more of an R&B feel on this Celtic tune called The Green Highlander. now that we laid down the bass, we could add the fiddle part. We want to put the capo here so it's in the right tuning, and let's try that. So after playing the melody, you can now take it and develop it. So I'm going to fool around with the idea of the melody, but maybe play some of my own ideas. And during, maybe halfway through, I'm going to move from the violin tuning up to the cello tuning, just so you can hear how basically it's just a different range, although your brain has to change gears there at the same time, so it makes it fun. Okay, let's see what happens. So that's some fun you can have doing with fiddle tunes. Well, thanks a lot for checking out the video about my 6-string bass tuned in fifths. If you're interested in doing it, I can let you know the gauges if you message me. And I'd like to finish off with a tune by Bach. This is a 2-part invention. I always like to think of these as Bach having a conversation with himself. So enjoy, and thanks for watching. I'm Ken Cowlisher at Teletoon Studio.